Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. We're going to take a look at the Assault Intercessor unit. This is a Primaris melee unit and it is the foot variant of the new jump Assault Intercessors. There's an upgrade you can give to the Sergeant for their melee and pistol weapon, and they've got a really good reroll wounds ability for melee attacks. There's plenty of characters that can join the unit to give plenty of buffs, and they're quite good in at least half the detachments really. They're relatively cheap for the points you're paying for them, and since they've been in a lot of the starter sets and combat patrols, they're quite easy to pick up for cheap online. They've got the standard Space Marine profile being movement 6, toughness 4, 3 up save, 2 wounds, leadership 6, and they do have a nice object control too. They come in a unit of 5 or 10 models, with it being 80 points or 160 points. The range weapons, they come with standard the heavy bolt pistol, which has the pistol keyword so you can shoot in combat. It's 12-inch range, 1 attack, strength 4, minus 1 AP, which is very nice, 1 damage. The Sergeant can have his upgraded to either a hand flamer, which ignores cover, has the pistol keyword and torrent, so auto hits. It's 12 inches, D6 attack, strength 3, 0 AP, 1 damage. And then finally they can have the plasma pistol, which comes with the pistol and hazardous keyword if you decide to supercharge it. So with 12 inches, 1 shot. Now standard is strength 7 with supercharge strength 8, and it's either minus 2 or 3 AP, and it's 1 or 2 damage depending on whether you use the standard profile or supercharged. Onto their melee, which is weapon skill 3. Now as standard they come equipped with the chain sword. This is 4 attack, strength 4, minus 1 AP, 1 damage. And there's a couple of upgrades you can give to the Sergeant. First of all, Power Fist at 3 attack, strength 8, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. A standard power weapon, which is 4 attack, strength 5, minus 2, 1 damage. Or Thunder Hammer, which comes with the devastating keyword, so critical wounds will bypass saves. This is 3 attacks, weapon skill 4, strength 8, minus 2, 3 damage. So onto the ability, they have Shock Assault, which is a very nice ability. So when you're targeting a unit with a melee attack, you get to reroll wound rolls of 1, which is really nice. And if the unit is on an objective, you get a full reroll to your wound rolls. So you're pretty much with these guys going to take the upgrade for the pistol and upgrade it to the plasma pistol. The heavy flamer, the hand flamer I should say, even though it's got some nice keywords being strength 3 and 0 AP and that variable attacks, isn't really worth it. So you might as well take the pistol where you've then got a strength 7 or 8 shot with 1 or 2 damage, which is much nicer to take. For the melee weapons, you're probably going to take the Power Fist. It's basically got the same profile as the Thunder Hammer, but it does not have the devastating wounds keyword. But more importantly, your weapon skill 3 rather than 4. Only having 3 attacks, the chances of rolling a 6 for your devastating wound is on the low side, so you might as well take the additional weapon skill to make sure that you're actually getting to the wounding phase of the attack. What buffs and combos can you give to the unit? Now they've got the Tacticus and Infantry keywords, so they can pretty much ride in all the transports, so we'll start from there. So the Rhino has a 12-person capacity and is firing deck 2, allowing 2 of the models to still shoot from within. Because it has the 12-man capacity, you can potentially take 2 5-man units with a support and character in peace, or you can take a 10-man unit with 1 or 2 support and characters. Then you've got the Impulsor, which only has a 6-person capacity. This has firing deck 6, so you can shoot 6 of your pistols when within. And it can also advance and disembark. So you can get out, move into cover, and fire off some shots with your pistols. You can't charge though, but you do have that ability to move afterwards. Then there's the Repulsor, which has a 12-person capacity, apart from the Executioner, which only has the 6-person capacity. And the Land Raider, all 3 variants have their 12-person capacity, but more importantly, if you make a normal move with the Land Raider, you can still charge once you disembark, so you're potentially moving its full movement range, getting out within your 3 inches, moving your 6 inches, and then charging still. So that's very powerful if you want to get some early game charges off. Now there's a fair few characters that can join the unit, so we'll start off with the Chaplain. When he's joined the unit, you get +1 to wound in melee, which is going to be very nice with those strength 4 weapons, just making you a bit more efficient into tougher units. And you can also choose a unit within 12 inches and remove battle shock. You've got the standard Lieutenant, which gives you lethal hits to your ranged and melee attacks, making you even harder to, but more efficient in combat, should we say. especially against those tougher opponents. So if you've got those lethal hits going off on a critical hit of a 6, it then doesn't matter that your weapons are only strength 4. You've then got the Librarian, which gives an invulnerability save of 4+. You also get a Funeral Pain versus psychic attacks. You've got the Apothecary, which can bring a model back per command phase, allowing them to stay around a little bit longer, especially if you're looking at more late game charges and late game pressure. So you've got a fully functioning squad available. Then there's the Ancient, which you usually don't see the Ancient come up that often because they're generally quite expensive. But within an Assault Intercessor, it's quite nice. You get +1 to your objective control, so you're 3 objective control per model. And if you're on an objective or within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield, you get a 4-up Funeral Pain as well, again allowing you to have a bit of board control and press exactly when you want to, either late game or early game, having that a little bit extra toughness there to keep you around and make sure when you're getting your charges off that you can actually do damage because you have enough models. There's a named character if you're taking the White Scars. Well, not if you're taking the White Scars, because you can use him in any detachment, but he's slightly more buffed than the White Scars one, called Corsair Car. Your ranged weapons will gain the Assault keyword, so if you are within his detachment and you can advance and charge, you can still fire off your pistols, and your melee weapons gain the Lance keyword, which gives you that +1 to wound. So on to the detachments. Now there's 3 main ones that you can probably get the most. Now on to the detachments. There's 3 of the detachments that you probably get the most efficiency out of the unit. So first up we got the Stormlance Task Force. This is the White Scars detachment. You get the ability to advance and fall back and still charge. There's a piece of war gear called the Portents of Wisdom. This allows you to re-roll the advanced rolls, so you're going to have a little bit more consistency for your movement and your charges. And then there's a stratagem called Blitzing Fusillade. You gain the Assault keyword on your weapons, again allowing you to shoot your pistols when you're advancing. And you gain the Sustained Hits 1 if you already have the Assault keyword. Now, if you have the Calm within this unit, you already have the Assault keyword, so you are gaining Sustained Hits as well, which might not be all that beneficial, but if you do have the Plasma Pistol, clinking off and a potential additional shot off that will be very nice. We then have the Gladius Task Force. You get your Combat Doctrine, so in the Assault Doctrine, you get to advance and still charge. There's a piece of war gear called Honor Fairment. It's +1 to your strength and attacks for the model within the unit. And so if you put this on a chaplain, he's getting additional strength and additional attack. It's just for the model. And if you're in the Assault Doctrine, it's +2 strength and +2 attack. So it gives you a little bit more damage for the unit as a whole. There's a stratagem called Honor the Chapter. You gain the Lance keyword, again that +1 to wound. And if you're in the Assault Doctrine, you then gain an additional AP, so your chainsword would be at -2 AP, and you'll get +1 to your wound roll, making you a bit more efficient into those tougher targets, making sure you're punching through the armor, especially on the Space Marines. If you're forcing them to save on 5s instead of 4s, you're going to get a lot more damage going through. Then there's Adaptive Strategy. This is a stratagem, and you get to select the doctrine for an individual unit, and this can be a doctrine that's already being used. So you've got multiple instances in the game when you can have these guys advance and still be able to charge. Finally, we have the Vanguard Spearhead. If you're targeted outside of 12 inches, you're -1 to hit, and you gain the benefits of cover, so reducing incoming AP by 1. There's a piece of war gear called the Blade Driven Deep. This gives the unit the Infiltrators keyword, so you can set up in the deployment zone anywhere on the battlefield outside of 9 inches of an opponent's model or their deployment zone. So again, making it a little bit more consistent with your early game charges, being able to set up further afield. And then there's a stratagem called Surgical Strike. This gives your melee weapons the precision keyword, so you can have a bit of character hunting going on, especially at early game. There's lots of armies where the character's quite essential, and taking them out early will have a detrimental effect on them being able to carry out their battle plans for the rest of the game. So as you can see, you can get some nice combos off when they've already got that reroll wound ability for wound rolls of 1, or if they're on the objective, 4 rerolls. So if you're going into maybe the Oaths of Moment target, you get them 4 rerolls to your hits and 4 rerolls to your wounds if they're on an objective. And then say you're in something like the Vanguard Spearhead, you've got the Infiltrators keyword, so you can set up further afield, get an early charge in, whilst also being -1 to hit and gain benefits of cover. And then when you're using the stratagem to give your melee weapons the precision keyword, if you've got, say it's a 5-man unit with a chaplain in, you've then got the chaplain's weapon and potentially a power fist with precision coming in, taking out those characters earlier on in the game. Or you can then combine it with the Stormlance Task Force. When you've got when you could advance and charge, and you've got a war gear that allows you to re-roll the advance rolls, it means you can dictate when and where this unit is going to get into combat. And then when you're giving them something like, if it's the chaplain with the +1 wound, it's going to make them really consistent. If you've not got the chaplain in there, then there are other options available for you. Having the lethal hit, so you get to bypass that wound roll anyway, can make these guys quite an aggressive choice early on in the game and quite nice to counter punch, especially at 80 points. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any comments, then pop them below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button, as it greatly helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button to see any future Warhammer content. Take it easy, and see you next time for more grim darkness from the 41st millennium.